Hello and welcome. I'm Meredith. If you haven't joined me before, I love to talk about anything to do with clinical hypnotherapy. I'm a clinical hypnotherapist with over 30 years experience, and I enjoy teaching people what I know and what I've discovered. So in this talk time series, we're really looking at language patterns and how we can use them in sessions. Today's topic is the language of assumed change. So buckle up. I hope you enjoy today. Now, let's get stuck into this. When we think about the idea of a presupposition, you're probably wondering what on earth that is. Well, it is a way of describing an assumption built into the way that we're phrasing something. We can often utilize this in a client session, and I'm going to go through a couple of examples of how I apply it in my everyday clinic. So let's start with the idea of a gentle way of bypassing resistance. Why is this important? Because most people who want change have a little tad bit of resistance going on to that change. So even though they might be quite willing on one level, on another level, they might be quite resistant. So how do we actually use the presuppositions within the work? So the subconscious tends to accept the frame it's given. So if we think about embedding assumptions of success, this can really enhance the outcome of a session with someone. You invite the subconscious to create alignment with that idea. These presuppositions are feeling natural as part of a conversational style rather than a hypnotic or forced suggestion. So an example is when you feel calmer tomorrow, you might notice how much easier it is to focus. That change is presupposed. So you're thinking, okay, this person is going to feel calmer tomorrow. So when you feel calmer, now tomorrow hasn't happened. So there's a presupposition or presupposing that they're going to feel calmer tomorrow. This is very powerful. So if we look at the difference between ordinary phrasing and using presupposition phrasing, let's run through a couple of examples here. So an ordinary phrase would be, do you think you'll feel less anxious? So it's like a question. Now, this is more of a question, but done in a slightly different way. So the presupposition phrasing is when you notice yourself feeling calmer. So again, it's helping the person to just go there and imagine as if they're feeling calmer, rather than the question, do you think you'll feel less anxious? This gives a brain too much opportunity to think about all the reasons why they might still feel anxious. So it's pointing the brain the wrong direction. And that presupposition that they will notice themselves feeling calmer is a really nice sort of way of slipping in that idea of feeling calmer. The next ordinary phrasing example is, you might relax. A presupposition phrasing for that same sort of thing is, as you relax more deeply now. So we're not asking them to maybe relax. We're assuming they're going to. So as you relax more deeply now into that wonderful state of open suggestibility, there's a lot of presuppositions within that, which is quite useful when I'm dealing with a client in a session. So an ordinary phrasing example would be, if you succeed in this exam. So this is the big if you succeed in this exam. The presupposition phrasing would be, when you succeed in this exam, you'll feel proud of yourself. Why is that more powerful? Well, it's just setting that client's mind up for success, right? Another ordinary phrasing example is, you could feel confident. You could feel confident, right? Now, maybe you couldn't, maybe you don't feel confident. So it's leaving too much room for a person to get in there and become resistant to that idea. Each this is the positive sort of presupposition phrasing of that. Each time you speak, you'll notice confidence growing. So much more powerful. And it just feels really nice for the client to take that on board. This simple reframe removes doubt and embeds the expectation of positive change. Okay? Let's look at this. Practical examples in hypnotherapy. Anxiety. When you remember to breathe slowly, your body relaxes naturally. It's wonderfully loaded with those presuppositions. Are you starting to tune in? Are you starting to hear what they are? So in smoking cessation, as you enjoy your healthier lifestyle, you'll notice your body thanking you. Now, in sleep, we might say, when your head touches the pillow tonight, your body begins to go deeper and deeper into natural sleep, easily and efficiently. You can add all sorts of things to that. Confidence. So each time you step into the room, you'll notice yourself standing taller, feeling more at ease with yourself and the world around you. And that is where I like to teach my clients about that never-ending story. So if we take that confidence statement, we say, okay, each time you step into the room, you'll notice yourself standing taller, feeling better about who you are and what you represent to the world. When you open your mouth to share what you have, the words flow easily from your mind out into the world. And you come away from that experience feeling calm, capable, and reassured that you've done it once, you can do it again. Right? So it just continues building. These are layered presuppositions within those statements. So when we're thinking about practice tips, let's go through a couple of these things. You could rewrite a couple of goals as presuppositions. So the goal, I want to feel less anxious in social settings. So what would you write? Maybe when you're in social situations, you'll notice how calm and more comfortable you feel now as you move forward, how automatic, natural, normal that is. So think about that framework. Link it to a time frame. So this is where we are looking at post-hypnotic suggestions. So we're allowing that person to go into the future in their mind's eye and imagine success. This is really important, that it's timely, that it is anchored into a moment that will happen in the future, and you're aligning the desired response to it. Stacking the presuppositions as well, building layers to longer statements, like I was giving you the example before. So as you begin to relax, you notice your breathing slowing down. As you breathe slower and slower, you find your thoughts become calmer. And those calmer thoughts allow you to embed wonderful ideas that can be acted upon easily when it's time. And when that happens, you notice how powerful you are. And it reminds you of how powerful you've always been, in fact. Because that power of intention is magical. And you can manifest anything you put your mind to. Now you can see how that just stacks on itself. It's an incredible, wonderful, powerful hypnotic language technique that I highly recommend you practice. So keep it natural. Presuppositions are most effective when woven into normal conversation rather than sounding like a trick or something like that. But when someone's relaxed and they're open and they're willing to change and they want support, this is why they're coming to see me as a hypnotherapist, to support them through that positive change. However, the way you, again, frame it is everything. It just helps that person take on board that information. I hope you take away a couple of things from today's session. So presuppositions bypass resistance by assuming change, okay? They shift the focus from if change will happen to when and how it's going to happen. Simple tweaks in language can profoundly influence the outcomes. And practice reframing everyday statements into presuppositions until it becomes second nature. So I invite you to go away, have a play, let me know how it goes in the comments below. If you have enjoyed this, please like, share, subscribe, all of that stuff. It really helps me out to get the word out there to a wider audience. I'm going to be back here, same time, same place next week. So I hope you are enjoying the series around language patterns, and I'm just going to keep on inviting you to go away, have a play. And if you are interested in learning to become a clinical hypnotherapist, or you just want to get better at being a clinical hypnotherapist, I do have a diploma course. 1,000 hours seems like a lot, but I tell you what, it is really interesting as you start to embed those ideas and go practice and put it into place in the real world. So if you are interested in becoming a student, go visit the website nzach.ac.nz. That's me for now, and hope to see you back here again next week. Ka kite.